record, and you can minimize that GoToMeeting screen if you want. If you go up and click on the two arrows right next to the X, that is a toggle switch. And
All right.
by minimizing it, you can give yourself a little more screen room to look at.
All right.
Okay. So you are going to school where, Ricky?
Dakota Ridge.
Okay. And you're taking regular geometry?
I am.
And you are what grade?
10th grade.
Okay. Now, geometry can be a little bit tough to verbalize because usually they're asking you problems about graph or, rectangles and circles and triangles.
Yes.
If that's the case, you need to send me a picture of your review material.
All right. Do I do it on my phone?
Yeah, let me write my email address that I want you to send it to.
Okay.
Just so you spell it right the first time.
All right.
You don't want to misspell these because then they forever stay misspelled in your phone and you never know which one is the right one.
Yeah.
I had somebody spell it C-O-W-E-N once, and every time they went to pull my email up, they got both of them and they could never remember which was correct.
All right. Is that the L or is that 1?
That's a 1. It's David
Okay.
Cowan 1949 at gmail.com.
All right. Thank you.
And are you using an iPhone?
I'm using a Samsung.
Good for you. One of the few Samsung users. That's what I use. Just go. You know how to take a picture and send it?
Yes, I do.
Okay. If it's an iPhone, you have to make sure you use a large image attachment. But with a Samsung, I don't think you just need to share it to that email, and that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
And tell me when it says file sent.
All right.
Because I can't.
Do you want me to send you the whole thing or?
No, I tell you what. For starters, just send one page.
Of course.
If you send like 4 pages, it takes it 40 times longer to get to me. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's almost exponential. But if you send just one picture, I should get it within seconds. And
All right.
then we can go to work on it. And if we still have time left at the end of working on that page, you can send me others. Or you can send them as we work on it. But yeah, just let's start by having you send one only.
All right.
And again, tell me when it says file sent on your end. I'm going to have to erase this page to look as to when I get it.
Okay. Opening photo. No, it's not. Show data and location set always. No.
Try to take it in landscape mode, if you would.
Landscape mode?
Well, not necessarily landscape, but just so where it's horizontal. So I don't have to rotate it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No.
Only because my rotator is giving me problems.
Oh, that's not good.
No, I don't understand why. I'm using Windows 10. It always used to work, but now all of a sudden it won't let me rotate.
Yeah, I have Windows 10 as well.
Yeah. I swear they did something to Windows 10 that changed their picture editors.
Yeah. Okay, where is it? Draft.
Actually, if you're using a Samsung, I would just go to the gallery, highlight that picture, and share it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that is a smart move.
You don't even need to go to the gallery, but if you can get that picture highlighted, then share, and then just type in my email address.
Okay.
And then for the future, it'll save it so that whenever you type in, like, the DA, it'll show you the whole thing.
Yeah. So everything's going to be on computer, though, just because my teacher does it on computer. Is that okay?
That's fine. How are you taking a picture? Are you taking a picture of your screen? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or if you like, I can go to the website where you're getting it from, and then I'll have it on my computer, and we'll both be looking at it.
Let me
Which
see
is
if
easier?
it's.
Do you need a username and password to get into that website, or
I don't know where my teacher gets it though. That's the question.
oh,
Because we're learning about cosine and sin.
cosine and sine? Okay, we can talk about
Yeah.
that without you sending me pictures.
And it says note taking with vocabulary for use after lesson 9.5.
Okay, unfortunately, that doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know lesson
Yeah.
9.5. But so you're starting trig, or you're doing a few days of trig. They always give you a little bit of trigonometry and geometry.
Yeah.
Is that what you want to talk about today?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. We can spend at least 15 minutes introducing you to trig. They started you off with this, did they not?
Sakatoy, whatever it's called. Yeah, that.
That's
Yeah.
where you want to start off knowing what trig is.
Yeah, opposite of the hypotenuse is sine. Cosine is adjacent to the hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite to the
Okay.
adjacent.
So on that triangle, tell me what the sine of theta is. You're always taking trig functions of angles. So what is
Yeah.
the sine of theta equal to?
Uh,
What's the opposite side?
oh, it is 3,
Okay. What's the hypotenuse?
5.
Trig functions are always ratios like that. Now, it could be 3 over 1 sometimes, but you always get ratios. You take trig functions of angles to get ratios. Tell me what the cosine of theta is. This is
Um,
only true if this is a right angle. In other words,
alright.
SOHCAHTOA only applies to right triangles.
Yes.
Okay, so what's cosine of theta? What's the A stand for?
Adjacent.
Okay, so what's the
Uh,
adjacent side to theta? There's actually two adjacent sides to theta, are there not?
yes.
It's
But
always
one,
referring to the one that is not the hypotenuse.
yeah. So it'd be 4 over 5.
Good. And finally, the tangent of theta, again, refer to your SOHCAHTOA.
Would be 3 and 4.
3 over 4. Remember,
Yeah, 3
you're
over
dealing
4.
with ratios. Okay? If
Yes.
you can memorize SOHCAHTOA, then you can always figure out, no matter what kind of triangle I draw, let's say I draw this triangle, and it's 5, 12, 13. What's the sine of theta?
It would be 5 over 13.
Okay. You want to get so you know these so good that you don't have them memorized, but you know them like you know your name.
Yeah.
When somebody says sine, you automatically want to know it's opposite over hypotenuse.
Yes.
Same thing with cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. Okay? That's a huge beginning. They're probably not going to teach you a whole lot more than just this, because trig is something that they give you a little bit of in geometry, they'll give you a little bit more of it in algebra 2, and then you'll get a lot of it 2 years from now when they give you a whole semester of it,
Yeah.
assuming you take that. But you're a sophomore, you'll take algebra 2 as a junior, you'll take some trig probably as a senior,
Yeah.
and then you really get into it. But now, as far as additional stuff that they're teaching you beyond what I've got on the page here, can you help me at all? I'm not sure exactly what they're.
I think I am able to do something. One sec.
What's that?
I took a screenshot of my paper, and I
Okay.
believe I could send it to you.
Okay.
Just one sec.
And it said file sent? Well, let me check my email.
Yeah, just one sec. I haven't put it in it yet.
Yeah. No, I haven't got it yet.
Yeah. Just yeah. Sorry, it's taking a while.
It's all right. I can actually, with this GoToMeeting, I can also make you the presenter so that we're looking at your computer screen. So,
Oh,
worst came
could
to worst, we could always do that.
could we do that actually?
Sure. We'll try it right now. Here,
All right.
I'm going to change the presenter and make you the presenter. And you may have to do something on your end also. Now we're going to be looking at your screen once you make yourself the presenter.
Do I press share?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am not looking at your screen, I don't believe. What happened when you pressed share? Ah, here it comes. Huh? Is it Google? Is that yours?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Go ahead and go to that website and we'll have a look at it here.
All right. Cool.
And the only problem with this is that doing the problems, I can't do it unless I'm the presenter. But in other words, I can't write and stuff. But let's have a look at what you're doing, and then maybe I can. Okay, let's look up top first of all. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, that's just doing exactly what I was doing. So let's look at 2. Tell me the sine of G. Angle G.
Angle.
Sine is what? SOHCAHTOA.
So cosine would be.
What's the sine of G? Not the cosine.
Oh, the sine of G would be.
What's the opposite of G?
Oh, 65.
No, that's the adjacent.
Oh,
The opposite is 72.
oh, 72 over
Divided by
97.
what? Over what? What's the hypotenuse?
97.
That's what the sine of G is. 72 divided by 97. Okay? Let's go down and look at 4 through 6. Write the expression in terms of cosine. Okay.
So I think don't you minus 90 and
the other way around. It's 90 minus this angle. So
yeah.
that the sine of 9 degrees is the same as the cosine of what? 90 minus 9.
90 minus 9.
Hmm?
$81.
Okay. So the sine of 9 degrees equals the cosine of 81 degrees.
Yes.
So number 5, the sine of 30 degrees equals the cosine of what?
60.
And number 6, sine of 77 equals cosine of
13.
Good. So that's pretty simple. And it works both ways. In other words, if I have the cosine of 45 or 40 degrees, that's the same as the sine of 50. They're complementary angles when you're talking about relating one to the other. Okay, so number 7, what's the sine of, or the cosine of 15? Remember, the cosine of 15 is going to equal a ratio. So the sine of some angle is going to equal a ratio also. Sine of what angle equals the same ratio?
75.
Yep. 8.
It's pretty much like the same way,
It's exactly
isn't it?
the same way. And it's the same way with all cofunctions.
Yeah.
Sine
So
and cosine are cofunctions of one another. Have they taught you the other 3 trig functions yet? Cotangent, secant, and cosecant?
no, not yet.
Okay, they may not. In fact, I don't think they teach you that in geometry. I think you got to wait till you get to trig to learn those.
Yeah.
So the only 2 cofunctions you're familiar with are sine and cosine. And
we learn
cofunctions because you take the word sine, you stick a co in front of it, and that makes it a cofunction.
Yeah, we also learn tangent as well.
Okay, and there is a cofunction to tangent, which is cotangent. So the tangent of 40 degrees is equal to the cotangent of 50. It's the same system. All of these cofunctions are complementary angles. Just subtract whatever angle you're looking at from 90, and there you go. Okay. Right. Now let's look at number 10. Because now they're talking about angles that are not your common angles. You will find in trigonometry that most all of your problems are built around 30-degree angles, 45-degree angles, or 60-degree angles.
Yes.
Those special triangles they've been teaching you about in geometry. Mm-hmm. But here they give you a few that are weird angles, like 16 degrees. But that's okay. Find the value of each variable. So, I think I maybe can talk through this without having to draw. So give me the equation that would apply on problem number 10. And use sine for the first one. So okay. Sine of 16 degrees equals what? Opposite over hypotenuse. What's the opposite over hypotenuse?
It would be x over 9.
Okay. Now, the sine of 16 degrees is a number. It never changes. And your calculator will tell you what that number is. So go ahead and type it in. What do you get when you type in the sine of 16 degrees? What kind of calculator do you have, Ricky?
Casio.
TI Inspire or Casio?
Casio.
Okay. But you got trig functions on there, right?
No. I don't know how to do that. That's because it only gives me pictures and I don't exactly know.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with the Casio, but look at that calculator and see if you see the words SIN or COS anywhere. Or TRIG, trig. In other words, on a Texas Instruments Inspire, they have a key called the trig key, and that opens up 6 choices from all the trig functions you can choose from.
I do not see it because I only get calculate, complex, base, minus n.
If you don't have trig functions on there, you cannot solve problem 10. Unless you have a table. In other words, if you have a giant table like we used to have when I was a kid, we didn't have calculators that could give you these things. So if you wanted to know what the sine of 16 degrees was, you had to look it up in the table. But there is a number for the sine of 16 degrees. Here, let me be helpful here. Let's make me the presenter again.
Okay.
We don't have that much more time, so I know what I can do here on my end to make this a little more understandable for you.
All right.
So in that last problem, oops, hold on, I gotta turn on my, let's make it slightly easier. I'm gonna make it 30 degrees instead of 6.
All right.
And that was X, that was Y, and that was 9. That's a right triangle. So from this picture, I can write the sine of 30 degrees, which I know to be a number, is equal to X divided by 9.
Yes.
Now, that number I happen to know by heart. That's 1/2. The sine of 30 degrees is always 0.5. So now I have
Yes.
0.5 equals X divided by 9. So X must be 4.5. And I can label that 4.5. Now, if I want to figure out what Y is, I'm going to use cosine, right?
Yes.
Because cosine relates Y to 9. So I can say the cosine of 30 degrees equals Y divided by 9. This one I also happen to know. That is the square root of 3 over 2. So now I'm going to have that equal to Y over 9. So Y is equal to 9 square roots of 3 divided by 2. Now, you probably are going to be tempted to convert all these things to decimals, but that's a mistake. You want to leave it with trig. It kind of depends on your teacher. In your geometry class, she may tell you convert that to a decimal and give your answer as a decimal.
No, she doesn't. She says to leave it like that.
You should leave it in radical format.
Yeah.
And that's perfect radical format. So when I go to say what Y is on this particular problem, I'm going to write 9 root 3 divided by 2. And there is the triangle fully dimensioned. In other words, we've solved for all the sides. Now, in fact, their problem is 16 degrees. So let's do that in the last 2 or 3 minutes that we have here.
All right.
So if this is 16 degrees, then my equation is the sine of 16 degrees, which is also a number. It's not a half, it's a different number, but it's a number. That's all it is. Okay? So X is going to be equal to 9 times the sine of 16 degrees, which you can get out of any calculator. And if you don't really have trig functions on that Casio, you need to get a different calculator. They're going to demand it.
Yeah.
Especially Dakota Rich. A couple years ago, the other school, Chatfield, forced everybody to go to a TI Inspire, even if they had a sibling that had the TI 984. And all of them are graphing calculators, and all of them have trig functions. But you need to be able to figure out what a trig function is valued at. In other words, the value of that, it's approximately a third. So I would solve this by I would look it up in the calculator, and it's going to give me a decimal 0.33 something. We'll say that, okay?
All right.
Well, X is 9 times that. So now I would know the side of that triangle. So whatever you get when you do that multiplication.
All right.
And I would figure out y the same way. Only I would use cosine instead of sine. And your calculator also has a cosine key where it'll tell you what the cosine of 16 degrees is. But when you see these trig functions like that, don't think that's weird. Just realize that those are always numbers. And if you have an equation that has nothing but numbers and one variable, you're going to be able to solve for that one variable. In other words, you may end up with answers kind of like this. You might have something that looks like this, divided by the cosine of 16 degrees. Okay? Well, that is just a number. That's all it is. Sine of 16 degrees is a number. Cosine of 16 degrees is a different number. Put those numbers in there, multiply by 9, you figure out what x would be.
All right.
So that's trig functions in a nutshell. The reason I know that in other words, there's no way to get that other than a calculator, what the sine of 16 degrees is. Yeah. For me to get it, I can only get it out of a calculator. There's no way to figure it out. There is, but very advanced ways, mathematically. Yeah. But they expect everybody to get that number out of a calculator.
Yeah.
So you might need to talk to your parents about having a calculator that'll let you do trig functions. You might ask your brother, Jameson, whether he knows how to do trig functions on your calculator.
All right.
And because you're going to need that. You're going to need to be able to do trig functions.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
Ricky, that's the way this goes. I have recorded this, and I will send you a link so that you can watch, if you like, the recording of this. You know, if you forget what sine, cosine, and tangent are and you want to rewatch it, you could do that.
All right.
Other than that, I will talk to you next time.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you close out a GoToMeeting by just, first of all, open it back up again and then click on the X. And that will close out. Okay?
All right.
Ricky, have a good evening. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.